Wage negotiations for public servants have officially begun at the Public Sector Coordinating Bargaining Council. Now, unions have tabled a 12% wage increase demand for workers as they look towards the 2025 financial year. They say the employer is only offering 3%. That's an increase most unions have rejected. SABC News Economics reporter Katlego Legodi is watching those developments and joins us now live from the council's offices in Centurion. And Katlego, it seems there's quite a gap. 12% is what unions want, and government only offering 3%.
Yeah, most definitely. A very good morning to you, Ayanda, and to our viewers at home. It is a gap, and this is how negotiations go when you listen to them in terms of the bargaining here. But what we're hearing and what we can tell you right now is that they're not finding each other, as they tell us that it's still early days for them as we see these negotiations kicking off in earnest. What I can tell you as well here, Ayanda, is that it's a race against time. We know that towards the end of this month, October, we'll see Minister Godongwana, the finance minister, present the mid-term budget policy statement, and this is where then these workers here from the Public Sector Coordinating Bargaining Council would want whatever is decided upon here to be more or less accommodated when the minister presents that mid-term budget policy statement. They've been meeting, they've been trying by all means. It's been a pre-bargaining even before they kicked off this official negotiations here, and they're saying that they've gotten a mandate from their workers to reject this 3%, saying that it's not going to serve them at all. I'm going to bring into the conversation now Lisiba Tubakale, who's joining us from SAPU. They are, of course, the South African Policing Union. You are in the public sector, and we know very well that for the longest of time you've been saying that workers have been living from hand to mouth. And even in the last round of these negotiations, you didn't get joy looking at what you were calling for. And what my presenter was asking me was around the 12%, the gap between the 3% and this 12%. Maybe give us a sense of why do we start there at 12, and what is happening? What is the latest in terms of these wage negotiations here? Welcome, Lisiba.
Good morning, Katlego, and also good morning to your viewers back at home. The 12% is clearly informed by the fact that there are historical losses that the workers suffered. The first one from the non-implementation of the SABC agreement 1 of 2018, which was supposed to be implemented in 2020, which got to reach the Constitutional Court. And the second one, it was when the issue of the cash gratuity was then composed down, it was then collapsed to be a real salary increase. So there were gaps that were there. All of those gaps, then we want to deal with the historical factors so that we can be able to really bring something into the pockets of the workers, and also looking into the future value in terms of retirement, because remember, every salary increase, it contributes to the increase when it comes to the retirement value in future for the members. So that is what we are fighting for. That is why, as labor, collected being labor, we are on 12% to say this is what the employer needs to come closer to. And also we are looking at the inflation. We are also looking at the cost of living, which is so high, where the workers cannot be able to afford anything. And as we speak, we are within the wage negotiations. The process has since started. We have done the pre-wage negotiations. We have then tabled the demands, and the meeting that we had yesterday, it was a meeting that was seeking for us as labor to now respond to the responses that the employer gave to us, because they offered us 3%. You can just look at the vast gap that is existing between the 3% offer of the employer and the 12% that we are demanding. And we tried by all means yesterday to pursue the employer to say, don't you have anything to come and review your offer in terms of the 3%, but they were adamant that that is where they are standing. And even on other 15 demands that we are having, there was no clear movement that the employer could bring. So that is why we have now decided as council to say, let us go into the a process of facilitation, whereby a commissioner would come in and he will come and take parties into confidence and speak to parties to try to bring us closer to one another, because we have not, we just started really to start with substantive wage negotiations. We haven't went even deeper. So we think where we are with the approach that we were taking yesterday, where the employer was going around in circles, it might put us at a risk of having a stalemate, and we want to avoid that. We don't don't want to have a stalemate. So that is why we have then said, let us go into the facilitation process so somebody independent can try and bring us closer so we can see how then do we move forward. But the 12%, it is justifiable. The cost of living is too high. The workers have not been receiving a real salary increase. The historical losses that the workers have suffered in the public service is quite vast, and we need to catch up with that. Looking into the future value of retirement when members going on retirement, and also as well look into the food basket so that they need to be more into the food basket of the workers.
Yeah, maybe give us a sense of that meeting. Yesterday, you left here very late in the evening, at night actually, discussing and negotiating, and you've gotten a mandate from your workers that have rejected this 3%. What is the employer saying? Are they saying they don't have money? What are they saying? What are they saying is the reason why they are not able to meet you guys halfway where the 12% is concerned?
Yeah, you are correct. Our members that we are representing as SAPU, they've clearly rejected the 3%. Remember what we did before we came into the wage negotiations. We did an economic outlook. We did a very comprehensive research, and then we went and had a collective bargaining conference with our members who gave us the mandate to say stick to the 12% because we explained to them, we showed them all the implications and even the historical losses that we need to cover up. So our members definitely rejected the 3% because it doesn't even come closer to where we want to go. And the meeting yesterday, it was just going round and round in circles. The employer, just going again, giving the very same reasons to say that it is unaffordable and this and this and that. But what we saw in terms of the cost of living adjustment, they had even mentioned, the salary levels from 1 to 16, whereas under the PSCBC, we only negotiate salary level 1 to 12. And to us, we saw that as a disingenuous type of an action that the employer is taking to say, how do you then cost even those workers, the senior managers, who are not being negotiated for within the ambits of the PSCBC, and then you bring a high cost to say that this is how much it would cost, whereas they did not even cost properly those who are under the auspices of the PSCBC. So we're just going round and round in circles. We really tried as labor to say, let us try to come closer to one another, but the employer was not prepared to really review their offer and maybe table a new offer on the table. That is why we said, instead of really going round and round in circles, let's rather have someone who will come and then deal with the issue of facilitation so that we can try to have movement. Because what we want is to have movement. We just started. We want to go deeper into the substantive negotiations so that at the end of the day, the workers can get what is due to them.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving us your time. It moves to the CCMA. You hear them saying here, Ayanda, that they're now roping in a facilitator to come through and just try to bring them together. It looks like they haven't started on a good note here, but you hear the workers saying that they remain resolute around the 12% here. We're talking about police, we're talking about nurses, we're talking about doctors, we're talking about those public servants, teachers that will be looking towards this particular process here to come through for them where wages are concerned.